Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm doing another Tubi horror recommendations list. This time around, I'm talking about some of the most disturbing movies you can stream on the platform for free right now. First up is I Saw the Devil. This is a Korean psychological thriller about a man who seeks vengeance against a serial killer who murdered his fiancée. This is a very bloody and brutal psychological thriller about how far someone is willing to go to get revenge for the person they love. You get emotionally invested in these characters, there's shocking moments, and it's just an overall interesting ride. Next is Dogtooth. So this is from the same director who did The Killing of a Sacred Deer. It's a Greek language film about a really controlling and abusive father who is super overprotective of his children, and he raises them so that they never leave their home and they know nothing of the outside world well into adulthood. So these characters are adult children, but they act like kids. They don't know certain words, what certain words mean, because their parents have been lying to them their whole lives. And it's super disturbing because the father does stuff to kind of appease the boredom of his kids over the years. He brings in a colleague from his job to perform certain acts with his son to keep his son occupied. It's just insane, and it's the most bizarre experience I've ever had watching a movie. And I read reviews that said it's like watching a car crash, like you can't look away, and that is the perfect description of it. It's kind of like Flowers in the Attic, but to the extreme. Next is Audition. This is a Japanese horror film about a widower who holds a fake audition to meet his next bride. And he meets this woman, this beautiful young woman named Asami, and she seems like the perfect ideal woman for him. And then he quickly realizes that he knows absolutely nothing about her. This movie is a slow burn. It's filled with so much tension and dread because, like the protagonist, we know absolutely nothing about this Asami character, and we slowly learn through the course of the film just how emotionally and mentally unwell she is, and it all culminates to this crazy third act climax. It's filled with piano wire, and it will make you terrified to ever date again. Then we have We Need to Talk About Kevin. This is a psychological drama about a career woman. She's got a very successful career life, and she kind of leaves it all behind to become a mom and raise her children. Her son grows up to become a sociopath, and the story is really about their dysfunctional relationship and the struggles she deals with being a mom. And it is heartbreaking to watch because it leads to horrific circumstances where she is faced with the blame for what happens. And I think this is an interesting character study, and it's an interesting look at the negative side of motherhood and how often mothers are blamed for the actions of their children, even when they didn't really have anything to do with that. Like, they tried their best. You can't always blame the mom for everything, but we do. Next is High Tension. This is a French extremity horror from director Alexandre Aja. He also did the 2006 remake To the Hills Have Eyes, which I love. So it's about a girl who joins her best friend when she travels back home to her family. But then their trip gets interrupted by a deranged killer. This one is super bloody and gruesome and just psychological and twisty and crazy. It's very fast paced. Once the stuff starts, it does not let up, and it has some really shocking moments. Next is Irreversible. This is a Gaspar Noé film that is one of the hardest films I have ever had to watch. So it's told in reverse order, and it's centered around two men who are embarking on a journey of revenge for the brutal assault of the woman they love. And the assault that happens to this woman, it takes place all on screen, and it is 10 minutes long. You feel every moment, you see all the pain. It's hard to watch. It will break you down. There's also incredible acts of violence aside from the assault scene. There's another brutal scene that happens within like the first 10 minutes of the film, but the movie mixes weird, uncomfortable sounds that make you truly just feel nauseous. At least it worked for me. It made me super uncomfortable. What I like about the film is that it's told in reverse order, so you get all of these super intense moments immediately, and then the rest of the film is kind of a breeze, but it's also super heartbreaking because you're really getting to know these characters and know who they are, and you know how horrible the night is gonna go for them, so it's really sad. You get no real good feelings from this movie at all. Next is Mungo. So I have to preface this by saying I feel like this movie movie gets way overhyped. I love this movie, but some people will say it's the scariest movie to ever exist, and then I think it gives these false expectations for people going in, because it is not really like that. It's a slow burn. This is a psychological drama film that is set up like a documentary, and it's following this family who are reminiscing about the life of their daughter Alice, who tragically died. And after her death, they begin uncovering secrets about her life and realizing they never really knew her. And they also think that she's trying to connect with them from the grave. So this one has some really great performances. It's got some incredible tension and just emotionally devastating moments for our lead character Alice, who's dead, when you're uncovering what she went through and what she was living with, and she had nobody to talk to about it because her family didn't really know her. They didn't really try to get to know her. And even from the grave, she's still trying to let them know who she is. And they still are struggling. They still can't do it. But the film does have a truly unsettling, creepy jump scare that I think is what a lot of people get hyped up for. But I don't think you should go into this movie thinking you're gonna get a scare fest, because this is a slow burn. This is not a jump scare in your face. So I hope that helps, but I do love this movie. I do think it's very effective and well done, and it's heartbreaking. It's really sad. Then we have Big Bad Wolves. This is about a group of men who kidnap a school teacher in order to interrogate and torture him to find out what happened to this girl, this local girl who was murdered. This one is really interesting. It's got elements of black comedy to it, but it's also incredibly violent, and it just shows how far some people are willing to go to find the truth, and how their rage makes them incredibly blind to actually seeing the truth, and they see only what they want to see. It's a really interesting film. Then we have Martyrs. This is another French extreme horror movie. This one is a film that starts out as one thing and becomes something completely different. So when you're going to this film, it's about two girls who suffered horrendous abuse when they were younger, and they're embarking on a journey of revenge. And then it leads them into a different situation entirely. And that situation is horrifying. It's filled with torture and abuse, and you feel every painstaking moment. I personally cannot watch this movie again. It's very hard, long, drawn-out scenes of this young girl being tortured. It's just difficult. It's a one and done kind of film for me, but I know a lot of people love this film, so. And lastly, we have Eden Lake. This is a psychological thriller about a couple who are going on a weekend getaway by this beautiful lake, and their trip is interrupted by this group of teens who are pretty violent, and they start attacking this couple for absolutely no reason at all. This film is disturbing on many levels. You see brutal acts happening on the film, but they're all happening from the kids. It's extremely disturbing to even fathom that kids can produce such acts of violence on other people, especially adults. You're not even safe from kids as an adult. It's just horrifying. And then we also get to see the teenagers and their home lives, and we get to really understand why they're the way they are. It's just a really interesting film, but it's not one that I can rewatch because it is super bleak. You will not feel good by the end of this film either. So, and there you have it. Those are some disturbing movies you can stream on Tubi for free right now. Please look into trigger warnings for all of these, because these films are filled with abuse, among other things, violence, nudity, all that stuff that might upset you, so do not go into these lightly. Please let me know which films on this list you do like and which ones you're planning on checking out. Let me know if there are any on Tubi that I left out that you think should be on my list. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you want to see more horror movie recommendations from me, and I also talk about horror books and other fun stuff. And I will catch you next time, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.